Paddington at the seaside. "Today," said Mr. Brown at breakfast one bright summer morning, "feels like the kind of day for taking a young bear to the seaside. Hands up all those who agree." Jonathan, Judy, and Mrs. Brown all put up their hands, and Paddington raised both of his paws as well, just to make sure. Everyone was very excited, and by the time they set out, the Browns' car was so full of things there was hardly room to move. Paddington carefully fastened his safety belt, and then peered out of the window as he felt the car turn a corner. "Are we nearly there, Mr. Brown?" he asked hopefully. Mr. Brown removed a spade handle from his left ear. "I'm afraid not," he said gloomily. "We've only just left Windsor Gardens, and it's a very long way to the sea." Mr. Brown was right. It was a long journey. But when they reached the seaside, the sight of the sand and the water soon made up for it. Paddington gave an excited sniff as he climbed out of the car. Even the air had a different smell. "That's because it's special seaside air," said Mrs. Brown. "It's very good for you." Paddington looked round anxiously as Mr. Brown began laying out the beach things. "I hope all the air doesn't get used up, Mrs. Brown," he said in a loud voice. And he gave a man who was doing some deep breathing exercises a very hard stare indeed. "Come on, Paddington," called Judy. "Let's go for a swim." It took Paddington some while to get ready. He wasn't the sort of bear who believed in taking chances, and by the time he went in the sea, he was wearing so many things he promptly sank. "No wonder," cried Judy as she went to his rescue. "You haven't even bothered to blow up your paw bands." "Fancy wearing a duffel coat," exclaimed Jonathan. "I thought the water might be cold," gasped Paddington. After his paw bands had been properly blown up, Paddington went in the water again, and with some help from Jonathan and Judy, he was soon swimming very well indeed. After his swim, Paddington settled down in a deck chair in order to dry out. He had hardly closed his eyes when he heard something very strange going on behind him. First there was a loud cry. Then there was the sound of people booing. "They're watching Mr. Briggs' Punch and Judy," explained Mrs. Brown. Paddington jumped up and looked at the others as if he could hardly believe his ears. But Mr. and Mrs. Brown seemed much too busy with the picnic things to be bothered, so he turned and hurried up the beach towards the spot where the noise was coming from. "Where's Paddington?" asked Jonathan, when he and Judy arrived back shortly afterwards carrying some ice creams. "I hope he's not long," said Judy. "I've got him a special giant cone. He'll be most upset if it all melts." Jonathan glanced up and down the beach. "Crikey," he said suddenly. "Look over there." The Browns gave a gasp as they turned to follow the direction of Jonathan's gaze. Something very odd seemed to be going on inside the Punch and Judy tent. There was a large bulge in one side, and it was heaving up and down almost as if it was alive. Suddenly, the tent began moving across the sand, scattering people in all directions. It just missed a large sand castle, went twice round the ice cream man, and then headed towards the sea. "Quick," shouted Judy. "Let's cut it off." But she was too late. "Paddington," cried Judy, as a familiar figure swam into view. "What on earth are you doing? That's the second time I've had to rescue you." Paddington stared at her in amazement. "But I went to rescue you," he exclaimed. "Mrs. Brown said you were being punched by Mr. Briggs." Mrs. Brown looked at Paddington in astonishment. Then her face cleared. "I didn't say Mr. Briggs was punching Judy," she explained. "I said it was his Punch and Judy." "It's a puppet theater," said Judy. "They often have them at the seaside. There's one puppet called Mr. Punch, and when he gets cross, all the audience have to boo." If it took the Browns a long time to explain a Punch and Judy show to Paddington, it took them even longer to explain Paddington to Mr. Briggs. But when he saw the enormous crowd watching them from the promenade, his face lit up. It was the biggest audience he'd had for a long time, and he decided to make the most of it and put another show on there and then. "You can't have a seat in the front row," he said to Paddington. "I expect bears do very good booze." One way and another, Paddington enjoyed his day out at the seaside. But all good things come to an end, and when it was time to leave, he stood for a moment holding up an empty marmalade jar. "I'm just collecting some sea air for the journey home," he announced. "I think I shall sleep so well on the way back I may lose all of today's air with my snores."